Okay, so four sections. We have standard configuration of IPv4 ACL. Okay, next would be the modifying the IPv4 ACL access list. Okay, we also have the secure VTY ports, virtual terminal emulator, or the telnet, or using the secured shell with the standard IPv4 ACL, and also the last section would be extended ACL for the IPv4. Okay, let's start with configuring a standard IPv4 ACL. Okay, so ACL, access control list, must be planned. Okay, so when configuring a complex ACL, it is suggested that you first use a text editor or write it out specifics of the policy to be implemented. So you can use a notepad or notepad plus plus or any notes that you want to provide a certain policy. Okay, then add the iOS configuration command to accomplish those tasks. So you need to include also the remarks to document the ACL. So remarks is actually optional for actual ACL to work, but it is really important for us a documentation for tracing and also to easy understand the part of the ACL. Okay. So copy and paste the commands onto the device. So you can do the copy paste when you use a virtual emulator or a secured shell or telnet. Okay. Then always thorough test the ACL to ensure that it correctly applies to desired policy. So one way also to do the testing is through the you can do simple test from a packet tracer na emulator. Okay. So it's not really advisable to directly deploy it to running production network. Okay, so you can have some outages from the services. Okay, it could cause some problem with your network if you don't test it at first. Okay, especially if bago pa ka, okay, nag-create of ACL. So actually, ACL is very easy to create. Okay, and it's also you can read the actual na policy. Okay, dali ra sa di mo masabtan what does the policy do. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with the standard ACL. So using the numbered standard APv4 ACL syntax. Okay, so we have here access list space then the access list number. Okay, so you can have the number na standard which is from 1 to 99 or 1300 to 1999 100. Okay, so when you have syntax after the access list number, you have to put there the permission. Okay, you can have a deny, permit, or it could be a remarks. Okay, so remarks is just a long sentence or a long word that describes your access list. Okay, followed by space, followed by the source. Okay, so remember for standard ACL, it's based on the source, kanang source IP, di ba? Okay, you have the source, which is the source plus the wildcard. Okay, so the source will identify the source network or the host specific device or specific IP. Then you have also the wildcard that applies to the source. Okay, so you have also an optional which is logging. Okay, so this will generate a send an information message when an ACS ECE is matched. Okay, so if ever mo na mo match ani sa permission na packet mo so that then it matches the source, then it would apply whatever the action here, then it would going to log it. Okay, so use the no access list number global configuration command to remove the ACL. Okay, so just to undo this, just add no then access list. You need to have the number which access list you want to remove. Okay, but also you can also overlap this by using the access list, then the correct access list number. Then, for example, you need to change the source address. You just redo the command. Just update lang ang source. That would overlap your configurations access list. So, aside from standard access list using numbered, pwede sa ta mag-create of name. Okay? So, to create a name, standard ACL, use the IP access list then standard. Okay, so the difference is ang atong syntax ani is access list space then the access list number for the numbered, while sa name gali kanang name ang atong policy. Okay, uh, you would start with IP, then access list, then the standard na name. Okay, standard, okay, automatically siya rin mo generates the number ana niya, then followed by the access list name. So this is where we're going to put up the names type na standard na ACL. Okay, so IP access list standard, then no access. Okay, so this would be your example here. This would be your access list name. Okay, so instead of using number, okay, no access ang butang. Okay, so under after ani na din ka sa configuration sa access list under sa no access na access list name. Okay, so you can do the following. Okay, so kani nindot sa ni siya mas dali kan mas flexible ang imong mabuhat. Okay, because under here this is what you can do. Okay, unlike sa tawag ni sa atong access list is just it consists only one line. So kani siya more sagara nagamit din sa mga advanced or katong familiar na ang nakamindot lang ani niya ang advantage niya is that you can specify the number. Okay, so the numbering is very important because it going to paano siya good kanang disunod ba. Okay, so if you want this to put it in above of that certain policy, pwede na mo maputang. Okay, so kani mas kuan siya, mas advanced for me. Okay, so here are the command that are available under this access list na name. Okay, so similar with those, you can put deny, specific packet, reject, and permit, and also remark. So you have here IP access list group. Okay, for standard IPv6 is configured. So after creating the access list, it must be assigned to a certain interface. Okay, so atong kailangan na siya i-assign sa interface, else dili na siya magana. Okay, so remember when you create the access list, it could be name or numbered. Okay, those are just a script. Okay, script of a policy. Okay, so what we need to do para uh, para mangbutang na siya or para i-apply na siya, it needs to be assigned to an interface. Okay, so we use the IP access group command used to bind the number or the name standard IPv4 ACL to an interface. So to remove that from the interface, just redo that no with no ng IP access group. Okay, so muna itong syntax. IP space access group space the access list number or the access list name. Okay, then you need to specify it is ingress or egress. Okay, so it could be in and out. Okay, in, incoming, going in sa imong router, or out, outgoing sa interface. Okay, so an example here of our ACL which permits a traffic from the host na 192.168.10.10 and all hosts sa 192.168.20.0.24 network out interface sa serial router number 1. Okay, so you have here access list, then you have here 10. Okay, so this would be your numbered na access list, then space remark, you put that remark, space ace, then permit. Okay, then only host 192.168.10.10 to the internet. So gikan dire, this would be your remark. Okay, then access list, then you have the permit action. Okay, you're going to allow space host space, it is a host, then space with the host address 192.168.10.10. Okay, so when you do the show access list, you have here standard access is 10, you have 10 permit the 192.168.10.10. So as a default, you know that we have at the explicit deny. Okay, even though wala naka-show diri na naatay deny, all other packet will be denied. So it would be only the 192.168.10.10 ang permitted to access. Okay, but since what pa na to be assigned sa interface, di pa na siya ma-apply, but this is just the policy under access list 10. Okay, so you also have the access list 10 remark ace permits all hosts in LAN 2. Okay, So access list 10, permit 192.168.10.0 space followed by 0.0.0.255. Okay, so diri wala ta nag wildcard because we specify it is a host. Okay, permit space host, then the address of the host. While here, permit, then we have a network address. Then we need to have specify from what range ana. So we're going to use the all devices on that network to be permitted. So that's why we have 0.0.0.255. So this is your wildcard. Okay, it is a reverse of your subnet mask of your network. So when you do the standard access list na show access list, you have here access list standard IP access list 10. You have 10 permit 192.168.10.10, and you have the 20 permit 192.168.20.0 with the wildcard bits na 255. Okay, next is ato na siyang i-apply ang atong access list 10. Okay, so certain interface sa atong router na serial port number 0. Okay, so interface serial port 010. Okay, IP access group 10, and it is for outgoing. Okay, outgoing in this interface. Then, and okay, question. So actually, this is very standard na kayo. Uh, Most of the time, lain-lain na policy ato ipang filter. Usually, nani rin kitang yang atong formana niya. Okay. Okay, it is also important to review everything that you have done. That's why every time after sa access list na command, okay, adding the permission, okay, you do the show access list, okay, to review it. Okay, in case na sayop gali, you need to redo that. Okay, before ni mo i-apply sa atong interface. Okay, so show running config command, you can also review the ACL configuration. So this would be the result of show run. Okay, you have here the access list 10, remark ace permits host, and also the other one, which is remark ace permits all hosts from LAN 2 to go out. Okay. Then you have also the show IP interface serial, include the access list. You would see here that outgoing access list is 10. Next is standard naming as a name. Okay. Instead of using numbered, we're going to use a name. Okay. So, mas din sa name because you can usually uh, dali mo ma-understand, or you can use a name that would describe the policy. Mas dali mo masabtan. Okay, pag-review. Okay, so we have here the same gap na itong scenario, same gap na atong kumuhaton. We have to permit traffic na host na 192.168.10 and also the network na 192.168.20.0 network. Going out padong sa router interface serial 0. Okay, using a name na. Okay, so here, so the-add pa niya, the-appeal pa niya ang atong pag-delete sa access list. So no access list 10, this would delete all access list 10 sa atong previous configuration. Then we have here IP, then access list, standard permit access. So this is a standard na ACL with a name na access list exam na here is permit access. Okay, we added a remark. So remark is ace permit host. Then this would be the policy grid, which is permit host. Then the IP address of the host. So similar sila, no? Okay. Diri, this is just under sa standard ACL and naming. Okay. Then added an additional remark, which is ace permits a host na ace permit host na doble lagi ni. Okay. Ibalik, no? Okay. Next would be the remark ace permits all hosts na LAN 2. Then permit 192.168.20.0 and with the wildcard address. Okay. Then exit ka na. Okay. After exiting, okay, we need to assign this na name ACL to and certain interface na serial port number 0. So serial port interface serial port 0, module 1 and port number 0, then IP access group, same gapon na command, then using the permit access and outgoing. Okay, so the difference between the two is that it's just same na ni siya. IP access group using the number for the numbered ACL. Here is we're going to use the name ACL. Then and when reviewing, same process gapon. You can use the show run or you can use the show access list also. Show access list here. You have the standard IP access list. You have the 10, which is permit 192.168.10.10. 20 permit 192.168.20.0. So these two numbers is under sa permit access na ACL. Okay. So you can also do the show run. Okay. Starting with the IP access list. You have there IP access list standard permit. Then you have here the permit of 192.168.10.10 and also the permit of 192.168.20.0 network with a wildcard na 0000255. Okay. Similar sa imong sa interface to display na by access list gamit. Okay, as you can see here, outgoing access list is permit access. Okay, it is using permit access for outgoing interface atong serial port 0. Okay. Question? No question? We'll proceed with the next section. Okay, so how do we modify? Okay, if we update certain access list or permission, if we're going to limit instead of network, we're going to limit the uh, we're going to set only a range of IP that access to the internet. Okay, so this would be the next section, modifying your ACL. So after an ACL is configured, it may be modified. Okay, ACL with the multiple ACEs can be complex to configure. Okay, sometimes to configure ACE does not yield to expected behaviors. So there are two methods to use when modifying ACL. You can use a text editor or you can use a sequence number. Okay. Okay, so using the text editor, okay, ACL with multiple ACE statements should be created in a text editor. This will allow you to plan the required ACE. Okay, create an ACL and then paste it into the router's interface. It also simplifies the task to edit and fix the ACL. So to correct an error in ACL, copy an ACL from running configuration, then paste it into the editor. Okay, so if you're using the PuTTY or terminal emulator, you can do the copy paste. Okay, advanced copy paste na option. So remember, when you copy it, ang imong copy is katong text siya sa. Okay, so copy ACL from the running configuration and paste it in the text editor. So make example here. You're going to copy this part. Okay, you have to copy this part. Okay, example kani show run kani mo kopyahan from the access list deny up to this part. Okay, so then paste it on your text editor. Then make necessarily edit. So when you make necessarily edit, ito na ka mag-update sa imo. For example, you're going to change the IP. Example here, sa iyo pang atong ang atong IP address. So instead of 19.168, you can do 192. Okay? Okay. So remove the previously configured ACL on the router. Then copy paste the edited ACL back to the router. Okay. So you can do that na no access list to delete it. Then add it again, access list, copy ni mo na access katong kanisya na text. Okay. Access is 1, deny the 192.168.10.10. Then access is 1, permit 192.168.10.0. Yeah, it's wildcard na 0000255. An ACL ace can be deleted or added using the ACL sequence number. So use the IP access list standard command to edit an ACL. Okay. So here, show access list. We have standard ACL list 1. Example here, we have 10, which is denied at 19.168.10.10. Then we have 20, permit 192.168.10.0. Okay. So statements cannot be overwritten using existing sequence number. Okay. So ang sequence din na mausab. Okay. The current statement must be deleted first with a no 10 command. Then the correct ACE can be added using the sequence number. So as you can see here, if ever mag-update mo ta, ma-add siya sa additional 3 na entry. But this is what we want to do na kani i-update na ni. Okay? So from the IP access list and standard, mag-note 10 ka, which means we're going to delete this entry. Then 10, specifying the sequence number is 10, then deny, then space with the host, then the 192.168, the correct IP na. Okay? Then N, that's it. Okay? So, diri, nag-specify ta on what sequence number. So, when we created this access list, okay, remember that we input the nag-una tag input diri sa deny 192.168.10.10, which is 19.168.10.10. That's why nasa sa pinaka primero. Okay? First sequence. So, pasabot ating 10 o 20, the 10 would be executed first, then followed by the 20. Okay? So, that's why the numbering here is very important. Okay? So, since we're going to update this one, okay, that's why we need to delete first. Okay? So, if ever mag-add lang ta diretso og access list diri na ACE, what will happen is it will follow the 20. Okay? Question? We'll proceed to next. Okay, so for the name, modifying the name ACL, okay, name ACL can also use a sequence number to delete the and add ACE. In this example, ACE is added to deny host the .11, okay. So, access list na to, entry is we have 10, deny 192.168.10.10, then 20, permit 192.168.10.0, wildcard, okay. So here we're going to add additional entry. So configure terminal, then IP access list, standard no access. So under here, na nato sa atong standard access list na no access. Okay? The next one we will be followed with 15, which means it will be inserted in between these two na access list. Okay, we have 10 and 20. So 15, then space, then the action, which is deny, space, then the IP address, which is 192.168.10.5. So, what you see, okay, N, so access list, you have here standard IP access list, no access. And C, we have a 1015 deny, which is 192.168.10.5, and deny, and the previous na mga ACL. Show access list command in this example shows statistics for each statement. So when the deny ace has been matched 20 times, the permit ace has been matched 64 times. So show access list, you have here the 10, ang kani, you have 20 matches. It means 20 kabuk packet. Yung match na pagsuod sa itong router, it's being denied. While here, 64 matches, the 64 book packet ng gawas sa nina serial interface port na to. Okay? So you can do the clear access list counters for these counters to be reset back to the beginning. Okay? So whenever mga traffic sa itong packets, it's mo match again siya dara, okay? It would going to have a counter. Okay? Question. Third section na ta. We have two more. Okay, so section 3 is about securing the VTY, so virtual terminal emulator na to. Okay, so with the standard IPv4 ACL. Okay, so when you do the telnet, when you do secured shell, okay, utangan na to na siya ACL. So we can also specify who will be allowed to access the device remotely. Okay, the access class command. Standard ACL can secure remote administrative access to device using the VTY lines by implementing the following. Create an ACL to identify administrative host should be allowed to remote access and apply the ACL to incoming traffic specifically on the VTY lines. Okay? So under here, sa config line, sa line configuration siya, sa kalabitong interface, VTY, then the number. Okay, under that, you have access class. Okay? Access class, i-apply na tong access list. Okay, access class space the access list number or the access list name. Okay, in ba siya or out sa ato ang configuration line. Okay, So this example demonstrates how to configure an ACL to filter VTY lines. So first, a local database entry for admin and a password class is configured. Okay. So, mag-create ta og local user account credential sa atong local database sa atong device. Okay? So, this is just a local database. Okay? The VTY lines on R1 are configured to use the local database for authentication, permit secure shell traffic, and use the admin host ACL to restrict the traffic. Okay? So, first line here sa global configuration, we added a user na admin with a password class. Okay, so after that, we have an IP space access list. So, nag-create tag access list here using standard, then name na admin host. Okay, so we have a remark here na this ACL secures the incoming VTY lines. Then we have permit 192.168.10.10. We only have permitted one IP to connect to the VTY lines, then deny any other. Deny any, okay, then exit. Okay. So, more ni atong access list. So, dili na siya i-apply nato sa atong interface, but we apply this on the VTY lines. Okay? Configuration line. So, we have here line VTY 0 to 4. We have here login local, which means local database ang atong gamiton as user credential. Okay? Local database. Okay? Then, you have the transport input using the telnet. So, we allow the telnet connection. Then after that, we have access class. Okay, the access class would be our policy sa atong access list. Okay, followed by it could be a number na ACL. In this case, we're using the name ACL. Then incoming na connection or incoming request na VTY or na telnet connection to this device. And that's it for your configuration. Okay, question?
None so far, sir.
Okay, so how can we verify this? Okay, if the port is secured. So after an ACL to restrict access of VTY lines is configured, it is important to verify if it works as expected. So the verified statistic issue excuse show access list. So the match in the permit line of the output is a result of successful secured shell connection by the host na 192.168.10.10. The match in deny statement is due to the failed attempt to create secured shell connection from a device on another network. Okay, so as you can see here, show access list, you have 192.168.10.10, two matches, so nanay nakasuod twice. Okay, and there's also deny, which are two. Okay, okay, so mas maisa na imo dahil testingan sa na ikaw mo going to do the secure shell or telnet to the remote device. Okay, and using also different IP to test it, i-accept siya or delete. Okay. Section 4 is configuring extended IP ACL. Okay, this would be the extended. So previous na to is all standard ACL. Okay, so the difference is that ang standard is source address ang gamiton. While extended, it can be both. Okay, source or destination. Okay, so it's more advanced ang extended. So extended ACL provide greater degree of control. Okay, they can also filter the source address, destination address, including the protocol. Okay, it could be IP, TCP/IP, UDP, or ICMP, and port number. Okay. So extended ACL can be created as numbered extended ACL, creating using access list number, or it could also be named, similar with the standard na ACL, pwede number, pwede name, ACL. Okay, so extended ACL can filter internet protocols also and ports. Okay, use the question mark to get help when entering complex ACE. The four highlighted protocols are the most popular options. So these are certain number na these are the certain mga ports and protocols na as a standard sa to ang iOS nakahatag. Okay, you have the ICMP, which is Internet Control Message Protocol. So example ani is kanang mga ping, mga trace route, it uses an ICMP. You have also an IP, which is an internet protocol using the IP, filtering IP. You have also the TCP or UDP. So TCP UDP is usually your transport layer. Okay, TCP is transmission control protocol, and also UDP is user datagram. So this is already above your layer 3 na packet. Okay. Okay. So if ever na kay dili makita diri, for example, certain protocol or ports, pwede ra ka mo type sa specific port number sad. Okay. So these are kanang mga common lang mga standard na mga name ports na to and protocols. Okay, so selecting a protocol influences the port option. So many TCP port options are available as shown in this input. Okay, so as you can see, we have port numbers at TCP. Okay, example here. Usually, you can use any specific port number. Okay, remember mga port number like HTTP 80 or 443. In this case, for example, FTP, which is port 21, FTP data is 20. Okay. So these are kanang di pantawag na itong mga name ports. Okay, katulad niya is protocols. Okay. So example, telnet is port 23. So if ever you're going to specific na blocking certain port or allow port, okay, if wala siya naka-assign diri or wala siya diri na port, you can use the port number. So port number is the standard. Okay. So you have your domain, which is 53. This is the most common kaya naka-highlight. Kasagaran sa atong gamiton. Okay? POP, SMTP, Telnet, and Internet na HTTP. Okay? So extended ACL can filter on different port number and port name options. So in this example, we configure the extended ACL 100, number na ACL 100 to filter HTTP traffic. The first ACE uses the www port name. The second ACE uses the port number 80. So both ACE achieve exactly the same result because World Wide Web or port 80 are all the same. Okay, the www is World Wide Web or HTTP or port 80. Okay, the same na siya. So di pwede mong gamit yung HTTP, but we can use the www. W or we can use the port 80. Okay, so pareha rin sila na rule. Okay, can only use one. So configured port also configure the port number is required when there is not a specific protocol name in the list, such as secured shell, okay, the port 22, or HTTPS, which is wala dito, we can add 443 as shown in the text. Okay. So, secured shell is not standard here, but may uban ng mga updated, okay, na sila ng mga port name. Okay, so tawagan na sila ng mga port name. So we can use the port specific port na 22 for secured shell or HTTPS, which is 443. Okay. So apply a numbered extended ACL. Okay, so in this example, ACL permits both HTTP and HTTPS traffic from 192.168.10.0 network to go to any destination. So any. So extended ACL can be applied in various locations. So remember, we can have a source and destination filtering sa atong extended. So however, they are commonly applied close to the source. So here's an ACL 110 is applied inbound of the router. Okay, interface 0. So we have here access list, then the number na access list 110, then we have the action na permit with a TCP port with the network na 192.168.10.0 with a wildcard mask of 000.255. Okay, so destination is any. That's why we have here any. Then specifically unsa na port, which is www or the HTTP. We have also the same access list, then same TCP permit TCP, then the network, then the wildcard to any source to any, then the specific port na 443. Then, after creating these two access lists, we have to assign this. Okay, assign na to sa interface port gigabit 0, then IP access group 110, then you have the incoming. Okay, pasud sa to ang router. Okay, and that's it. So, mabura. So TCP can establish extended ACL. Okay, so TCP can perform basic stateful firewall service using the TCP establish keyword. So establish keyword enables inside traffic to exit the inside private network and permits returning reply traffic to enter the inside private network. So TCP traffic generated by the outside host and attempting to communicate with an inside host is usually denied. So remember, kanya tong the permit diri is just going out ra ni siya. Okay? Pagawas sa to ang pasud sa to router at pagawas sa internet. Okay? So dapat maka-provide ta og established connection between the outside and the inside. So dapat ang papalik ma-apply na siya. Okay? So whenever the PC1 requests from the outside public network which is permitted sa tong previous na ACL, ang reply from the public network returning from the outside public network is permitted. Okay? Dapat i-permit to have established connection. So, an ACL na 120 is configured to only permit returning web traffic to the inside host. Okay? So, we added this para ang pabalik, okay, is allowed. So, show access list command here. Show the inside hosts are accessing the secured web service from the internet. So a match is core. Okay, so we have here access list 120, permit TCP any. Okay, remember kani siya, source na sa siya ha. TCP, then the source to the destination. Previously, we have 192.168.10.0 with the wildcard, that is your source, to any. Kani siya, pabalik na ni siya. Okay, pabalik na siya na musud sa tong router. Okay. So we have here any. So masikin sa which means any which means public or anybody any address destination for this network address with a wildcard address. Then you have established. Okay, because we dita pwede mo specify the report. Okay, because ang pabalikan na would define it would use a different port number. Okay, even the source even the requesting PC here request for HTTP access, HTTPS. Okay, and destination niya would be port 80. Okay, but ang pabalik ana dili na siya port 80. Okay, so that's why we use the established connection. So assign this, so interface gigabit port 0, then IP access group 120 out also. Okay. Question. So, going out ni siya sa atong interface sa atong router. Okay? Facing sa ato ang facing sa ato ang inside private network. Okay? So, isa is going out or going in sa router and ang the other one to establish is going out sa atong router's interface. Okay? So, when we do the show access list, we have here we could see the permit of the HTTP and also the permit of HTTPS. Okay, then it would display also the number of matches or pila ka book packets na nisud. As you can see, you have 657 and you have also 1166 matches for the returning packet that is established. Okay. Okay, so for the name extended IPv4 ACL syntax. Okay, so you have here similar yapon sa standard but using the naming. Okay, you have here IP. Nag-start nga po IP to define the extended IP, then the access list, then extended here. Then you have the access list name. Okay, so standard. If we use standard here, if this is standard access list, here we're going to use the extended. Okay, so under here, after giving the command, you have the config extended access list na dahil na prompt. Okay. For the name, extended IPv4 ACL example, This would be our example here in a topology is used to demonstrate configuring applying to name extended ACL. Okay, one is surfing. It will permit the HTTP and HTTPS traffic to exit the interface to the internet. And also we have the browsing. This will only permit returning traffic from the inside host while the other traffic exiting the R1 na gigabit port interface is explicit deny. Okay? So surfing, dito mag-filter ang pagawas, then also the returning traffic for browsing. Okay? So surfing ACL permits HTTP and HTTPS traffic from the inside user to exit the interface 1. Okay? Mo exit dire interface 1 to the internet. So web traffic returning from the internet is permitted back into the private network using the browsing ACL. So here, IP access list extended. We have the surfing, name na ACL. Okay? So muna siyang pabalik. Okay? Remarks permit inside HTTP and HTTPS traffic. At din siya pabalik. Pasod din siya. Pagawas, surfing. So, traffic that is destination for port na port 80 and port 443. So, surfing ang gamito na to na name, extended ACL. You have here surfing, then remarks permit inside HTTP and HTTPS traffic going outside to the internet. Then permit TCP. Okay, we have 192.168, which is the network address with the wildcard address, destination to any, and specifically port 80. Same sad sa isa, which is port 443. Okay. Next is creating also the access list for browsing. So browsing is muna atong returning. Remark only permit returning HTTP and HTTPS traffic from the outside going to the internal. So we have here permit TCP from any to the specific network, which is 192.168.10, which is our internal with the wildcard address na 000.255. Then you have the establish. Okay. Then apply this to the name na ACL to the interface. So remember, kani siya, this is going in, then kani is going out sa imong interface. So IP access list group, surfing in, then IP access group, browsing out. That's it. Okay, so same rin siya o policy katong gigamit na to ang number. Okay, but in this case, we're using the name ACL. Okay, show access list, you will see the number of matches. Your access list is match sa mga packet na nisood in gawas. Okay. Show access command is used to verify the ACL statistics. Notice that the permit secured HTTPS, the 443 in the surfing ACL, and then the return established counter for browsing ACL have increased. Okay. So normally, as you can see here, ganun na ang pabalik may daghan. Okay, so when you access certain site, you only have a few number of packets going outside padung sa destination. Ang returning sa content as a gikan na hindi access, those are mo dako. Okay, so that's why dako im download kaysa upload. Okay. Next is to edit the extended ACL. See, extended ACL can be edited using text editor sa gyapon. So when many changes are required or if an edit applies to one or two ACE, then sequence the number that can be used. Okay. Example here, sequence 10 in the surfing ACL has incorrect source IP network. Okay. So extended IP ACL browsing, you have here. Okay, ang atong surfing mo ay sayop na address. So we have here 10 permit TCP.19 instead of 192. So kailangan nato ni siya i-update. Okay. To correct this error, the original statement is removed with no sequence number. So take note sa na number, extended number, which is 10 permit TCP, which is this one, this line. Okay, so kanya atong delete on the whole line. Okay, so we give command IP access list extended surfing, then no 10, then we added 10 permit TCP 192.168 with the correct values atong network and a subnet mask. I mean wildcard. Again, this